Welcome to United Taste of America. Today we find ourselves in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, one of the most beautiful states in all of America. What dish are we picking? There's a lot of great dishes in Massachusetts, but we've got one you don't want to miss. From the coast to the Berkshires, Massachusetts is such a beautiful state. It's a state with a big city in Boston and lots of small towns and hamlets throughout the state. Massachusetts played such a huge role in the history of our country. We all know the story of the Pilgrims who boarded the Mayflower and came and landed at Plymouth Rock, only to be saved by the Native Americans who got them through a very, very tough first winter. We know about the Puritans who formed the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and the state grew and grew and grew. And Massachusetts played an enormous role in the Revolutionary War. We know about Lexington and Concord, the Boston Tea Party, Bunker Hill, and such historic figures as John Adams, Samuel Adams, Paul Revere, and John Hancock, just to name a few. Later, Massachusetts became the sixth state in our union. Massachusetts also has a great culinary history. So many iconic dishes are named for places in Massachusetts. How about Boston cream pie or Boston baked beans? How about Parker House rolls? But what Massachusetts is really known for is its seafood. Fried seafood like fish and chips, clam chowder, and the most iconic dish of all, fried clams. And we're here where the fried clam was invented, Woodman's of Essex. I'm here at Woodman's with Steve Woodman, third generation.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about the restaurant. Your grandfather started it here on this particular piece of land.
Yeah, actually the same spot. It was my grandfather and my grandmother, Nana Bessie. His nickname was Chubby because he was a man with a big barrel chest, and eventually that that chest went down to his belly, so he was called Chubby.
I see. And so when they started, where had your ancestors come from?
Well, actually, the ancestors from the Woodman side came over in 1630 on the Arbella with Governor Winthrop. And the Arbella stopped at several places, and one of the places they stopped was in Newbury, just up the coast from here. And a brother got off there, and then another brother went up to Maine. Going and looking at history, it actually looks like the brother that went to Maine that's where we came from. And so they came back down this way.
Okay.
And so that's the connection that we have with and how this Woodman family got here to New England.
Right. And so Lawrence Chubby Woodman, he starts this business with his wife. Mm-hmm. Literally at this spot, which is a gorgeous piece of land right here on the Essex River. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was a building right on the Essex Causeway, and he was actually he was working for the trolley company. He was driving one of the trolleys that went through town, went down the Essex Causeway, went into Gloucester, went to Rockport, so people could do the shopping in Gloucester and Rockport and come back, and it also went up to Ipswich and Newburyport, so same type of thing. So a lot of people came through Essex going to their other places, and so there was a lot of traffic. So
it was a crossroads.
It was a crossroads.
Okay.
And what he saw when he was driving along the scenic route, and he'd see these guys going out clamming, and digging clams and selling it to wholesalers. Way back then, they'd take some of these clams and they'd sell them to the fishing boats in Gloucester as bait or chum that they could throw out to attract the fish. But some people, of course, living in Essex, didn't have a lot of money, so they ate the clams also. So he decided, when he wasn't being an engineer on the trolley, when the tides were right, go down and start digging. And he would get 60 cents a bushel, which is back then was probably about 65, could have been 70 pounds of clams. at the time. And so he was doing okay. And then eventually he stopped working on the trolley and started clamming full time. And that's when he got this place to open up and sell his clams to retail. So whatever he didn't sell that day, he would sell to the wholesaler. So he had fresh product every day. And that was in 1914 when he opened that up. And then things were kind of slow, didn't sell much stuff, so they brought in some other things, whether it was chewing gum or vegetables, bananas, etc., just try to get people to come in the store. But really what helped him was he got a coal-fired stove and put some big pots of lard on there and started making homemade potato chips. And people liked his homemade potato chips. And so that brought a lot of people in. People would hang around, eat the chips. And then in 1916, a friend from West Gloucester, because my grandmother was from West Gloucester, said, "Hey, Chub, why don't you take one of those clams and throw it in the fryer later, see if it's any good." And everyone kind of laughed at him. But my grandmother said, "Oh yeah, that could be done." So they shucked it out, and they, just figured how do you fry? Well, you get some corn flour, you get some evaporated milk, because there wasn't much refrigeration, so that's what they used to coat it with, and they put it together and threw it in the hot lard, and came out tasting pretty good. So they passed it around to a few friends. They liked it. Actually, the 4th of July parade was the next day. And so they put a big sign out, Essex fried clams. And people came in, they liked them, they bought them. He took in $35 that day, just on the clams. Most money he's ever taken in one day. And he was a smart man.
At that point, he knew he was on to something.
He knew he was on to something.
Right.
So Woodman's is actually the first fried clam shack in New England, or probably in the world.
Well, now fried clams not only are an institution throughout New England, but they really around the country. You can get fried clams. I think I read a story somewhere, and maybe you can tell me if it's true or not, that Howard Johnson, and of course Howard Johnson was famous for their fried clam strips, that he learned to fry clams here.
Exactly. Yeah, he was, Howard Johnson was, opening a restaurant in Quincy. And he heard about the fried clams, and he thought it would be great for his restaurant. So he actually came down and talked to my grandfather and said, could you teach me how to fry clams? So he actually had him work one weekend day and to fry clams and show him how to do it. And he brought that back to Quincy and had fried clams on the menu there. But then, of course, Howard Johnson had 1,000 locations eventually that went across the country. The soft shell clam with a whole belly doesn't freeze very well. So there's no way that he could really get that to all his restaurants. So that's when he started looking into clam strips, which is part of the sea clam that they strip out, and started selling fried clam strips. And that kind of gave the whole nation a taste for fried clams. So I think that aspect actually drew people to New England for the original, whole belly fried clam.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kept on bringing people back, summer after summer after summer.
Well, the whole belly fried clam is so special, I think. The fact that it's the entire soft shell clam. But it's a simple recipe. What do you fry? What kind of oil do you all use?
We use lard, the same.
Still use lard?
We still use lard, never a seed oil.
Right.
People tried to introduce it to us and so forth. We tried, testing it here and there, and it just didn't have the same flavor. Everyone said it was going to be much healthier for you, and I said, well, people aren't coming here for their health.
That's right, exactly.
They're coming back for memories, because generations upon generations of families, it's a family tradition. Now that we have 3rd and 4th generations of families coming back year after year, and it's something that we wouldn't change.
Well, one of the things I've noticed, and it's interesting that his big day of the first fried clam was on the 4th of July.
That's right.
Y'all have a very patriotic feel here. You have American flags, bunting, all those kinds of things. Has that been something part of your DNA from the get-go?
It has been. We've always put up bunting around the restaurant, flags all the time. It's part of who we are. The American flag, that theme.
Well, you're famous for your fried clams. You invented the fried clam here, but you serve a lot of other stuff. And I noticed one of the things you do is you have a line that you can get in to pick out your lobster.
Yep.
And you cook your lobsters. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, just like we originally did it when he brought in the first lobster tanks, and we built a cooker out there, a brick cooker and with a big pot, and we boil the lobsters out there. So we have a lobster pool out there, and people can, look at the lobsters, see what they're going to get, and we put them in, cook them for them, and throw them out on the table, and they just grab what they want. We crack them for them. We don't give them crackers. We actually have a big knife, and we crack the claws for them and the knuckles and cut the tail down so they can just go right in and tear the thing apart.
Well, somebody told me you can tell the rookies here. They get in that line first. What you need to do is get in the fried line.
That's right.
First, get that order in, get your lobster order in, and then go get your cold beer at that point, and then come to the picnic table and have a full dinner.
Because on really busy days like 4th of July or Father's Day or different holidays, we'll have a very long line. So the regulars that come know how everything works. So they'll actually drive and stop right on 133. Someone will jump out and get in line. Then they'll go and park. Someone will go get a table. Someone will get a beer, bring it to the table.
Got it.
And
divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, and
they
come in. So a lot of people know what they're doing and make it a lot easier for them.
Well, you celebrated your 100th anniversary not long ago, and you printed up a cookbook.
Yep.
Now we have America's 250th birthday. In a lot of ways, you are the quintessential American success story, which I think is really, really interesting. We've been to a lot of restaurants on this series, but you're one of the rare ones where we've gone to the source where they actually created the dish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, my grandfather always had an entrepreneurial spirit. He didn't like being told what to do too often, so he worked for himself at a very young age and did that. And they say that adversity, is the mother of invention. And the Woodman's been open 2 world wars, depression, other wars, other recessions, so forth, and we're still going. Because I think when hard times come, you have to look to figure out how can we get through this. And that's something that he did, and he kind of taught his dad, and his dad taught us that, you've got to be able to stay the same, but also change in order to keep on going.
Well, you're the 3rd generation. I understand there's 4th and 5th generations working here.
Oh yeah, we also have a catering business. We cater clam bakes and barbecues and so forth. So we have lots of family in the catering office, answering phones, going out and doing the parties themselves. In fact, we have a party tomorrow going out that we're actually frying clams and fried scallops along with lobsters and steam clams and everything going out. So we can actually go to you and cook whatever you want.
That's exciting. Well, Steve, thanks for having us here at Woodman's, and we're looking forward to tasting some fried clams.
Appreciate it.
So that's a wrap on the Commonwealth of Massachusetts here at Woodman's, a great American success story. We'll see you next time on United Taste of America.